Hello, everyone. Welcome to Perception.
Hi.
Robert's back.
Hello, I'm back. I'm so happy to be back. Art, how are
And
you?
I'm good. And for the very
Good.
first time ever, I got the whole intro thing correct. Didn't mess up at all. Nothing broke.
Yay!
So I'm happy
I
about
mean, that's why I took time. I wanted to make sure that you had
it.
time
So
to
we
like figure it out.
got 3 weeks to practice. You getting that intro correctly. Even when Andrew was here, I didn't get it right. And yeah.
Um, I saw Andrew's stream. I was watching it while I was working,
Mhm.
and it was so cool. I love that. I'm glad that he finally did some mini painting.
Yeah. It might be the only one of the year, but we'll see. We can
No,
get him
no,
back
he
into
needs to come
doing.
back and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the idea of like other types of painting or arts and crafts and stuff. Maybe it's not just paint. Maybe
Yeah.
we're doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. People love arts and crafts.
Plus, I think I'm running out of paintings. I can always think of something to paint.
Yeah.
Welcome, gang. Um, as Art said, my name is Robert. Hi. Um, for those of you who haven't joined us before, um, I'm happy to be back. I took some time off doing some freelance work, and so I appreciate your patience. And I missed you guys. And let's paint, celebrate.
Yeah.
We're working on our Summer of Star Wars. Ta-da! And today we are traveling back in time to episode 1, and we're painting the beautiful planet of Naboo, specifically the Imperial Palace, or not Imperial Palace, but Theed Palace.
The palace, yeah.
And then there's some, what are those, N1 starfighters up there in the corner?
Oh, the Naboo fighters. Yeah, I don't know what they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know it's like it's got a little bit of a blur because I did
Right.
enjoy the movies when they first came out, and now that I watch them, I'm like, wow, why is everything so cold and metallic? Um, but anyway, we're gonna paint.
When the first
Yay!
movies came out, they were okay. Hated some parts of it. And then
Hmm.
Clone Wars, the TV show, came out, and it made me like them a lot more. Because I think George
Hmm.
Lucas had a lot that he wanted to tell, but couldn't do it in those 3 movies. And then the sequels came out, and I'm like, the prequels were nowhere near as bad as the sequels were. So I like them so much more again.
So as more and more canon makes its way out, you begin to appreciate
Yeah.
this stuff. But okay,
Like
that makes
it's like,
sense.
oh, that wasn't so bad. That was kind of
Yeah,
bad, but there were some
it's
parts
not
that
as bad as what I just saw.
exactly. So it
I like that
works.
Clone Wars 2 helped to build a lot more of the story and characters
Mm-hmm.
background that I think we just missed in the prequels. So much of
Mm-hmm.
it was just like politics and blah blah blah, and then love story, and we're like, okay, that's great, but I want to see some other cool stuff
Yeah.
aside from Jar Jar Binks,
I
because no one needs that.
like Jar Jar Binks. I've come to like him. I hated him at first. Now he's my fave.
No, that can't be. It's impossible. Um, MJO says we're not patient, Robert. Oh, we were not patient. Get to the toast. Okay, all right, fine. We'll get started. Um, Rich
I
Cooper, hello and goodbye.
think he has an early day tomorrow. I think he said earlier. He says I'm asleep,
Oh,
but I'm waving hello
well,
and goodbye.
get some rest. Thank
Get
you
some
for
rest.
stopping
Yeah.
by to say hello and goodbye. Let's go through our materials real quick and make sure we have what we need before we get started. I have a 16 by 20 inch canvas. You can use any size or shape canvas that you have available, or you can use paper or any other surface. You can also do this digitally if you have an iPad or a Surface Pro or a tablet. You can just treat it just the same, which is use whatever materials you have. So I've got my surface here. And then next up, you will want a cup of water. I'm using acrylic paint, so I'll be using this water to wash off the paint off my brushes in between colors. Make sure that you don't accidentally drink from this water. In fact, I've got my cup of water with my lid on it just to make sure I don't accidentally put my paintbrushes in there. And then speaking of paintbrushes, I've got my 3 standard paintbrushes that I use, a large, medium, and a small brush. There we go. So my large brush is a 1-inch flat brush. My medium-sized brush is a 1/2 inch flat brush. You can see very thin on the sides. And then my small brush is a number 2 round brush just for some detail work toward the end. As long as you have a large, medium, and a small brush, you'll be good to go. They don't have to be the same brushes that I have either. Next, you will want a towel. I've got this grungy towel that I keep threatening to wash, but I never do for some reason. I mean, it's just covered in water and paint. Someday I will. But as long as you've got like a paper towel or a napkin or something nearby, you'll want this to make sure that you don't have too much water on your paintbrushes after you've washed them. You'll want to dab them dry and get that excess water off, because if you do have too much water on your brush, the water will drip down and rip that paint off the canvas. So you just want to make sure your brushes aren't too wet. It will explode. Your paintbrush will self-destruct. That always reminds me of Inspector Gadget.
Why?
Remember the messages?
Oh,
The messages would
yeah.
always self-destruct for some reason. I'll get you next time, Gadget. So now we need paint, right? Okay, so you can see on the sample up there, we're using this really nice kind of regally purpley palette today. There's a little bit of magenta on the top of the sky, and it's gonna have a gradation down toward like a whitish pink. And then we're using purple, and then a darker like navy purple, and then toward the bottom, it'll be almost black, but not quite, which reminds me I need to get my black paint. I'll snag that right now. Let me get my black paint. Okay, got it. So the colors we'll be using today, you'll want black and white. And we're creating kind of a pinkish tone, like a reddish pink. But I'm going to be using 2 pre-mixed colors, a light magenta and a deep magenta. If you don't have these colors, that's okay. The light magenta is essentially pink. So think white with some red in it, and then a tiny, tiny tap of yellow, just to brighten it up a bit. And then the deep magenta is red and white with a tiny tap of blue, just a tiny, tiny tap of blue. Kind of purples it up a little bit. Speaking of purple, I'll be using a straight violet color. And then to darken up the purple as I create some of the buildings in the foreground, I have a brilliant blue, which is a standard blue, but just a little touch darker than we're probably used to, than the primary blue. Think dark blue, right? And that's it. Yeah. So as we're going through today, if you have any questions, let me know. You can reach us in the chat here on YouTube and on Facebook, I think. Are we watching the Facebook chat?
No.
Or does that just pop
the
up?
Facebook said the Facebook thing says, join us on YouTube to chat with us.
Oh, well, that's fine. Well, who watches stuff on Facebook? I don't know.
I hope somebody, so they come over here.
My grandparents watch things on Facebook. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't shade Facebook. So yeah, you can reach us on the chat here at YouTube. You can also find us on the Discord at Perception Paints. And then you can go to Perception Paints Share, and you can actually show up a live feed of what you're working on. And then that way we could take a look as we're working together, and I can help you out step by step.
Yeah.
And then as we're working, if you find out, I don't know if it's looking right, I don't know if I like it, just pause and take a minute. Let something dry for a little bit. Bob Ross always says there's no such thing as mistakes, only happy accidents. And the same goes for here too. So sometimes you just need to pause and rethink how you're working it. And I'm happy to help you out too if you have any questions. But yeah, let's get started. As MJO said, we'll do our toast as we do. So we'll drink and we'll paint the best that we can. And if it don't turn out right, who gives a damn? Cheers. Boop. I'm obsessed with my little rainbow straws. I got them for Christmas, and it's the only way I can differentiate between my water and my husband's water. So I got rainbow straws all over the house. Happy Pride. Yay. Okay, so we're going to get started on our background. I'm going to start with a deep magenta, which is my like dark pink. And we're going to bring that right up on the top using my large brush. We'll get a little water on there. And we're just going to bring this down.
By the way, right when you went on your break,
Yeah.
in the chat you mentioned, you said something like, "Oh, do you guys need a Pride version of your logo?"
That's
Did you see?
right.
I immediately went home and made one.
You did. It's so cute. It's
Yeah.
perfect. I love it. Thank you for doing that. I know that there's a lot of talk out there about I think people are calling it rainbow washing, where companies are just
Yeah.
like, let's slap a rainbow on a logo and show people that we care. But you know what? I'm fine with it. It's okay. Like the fact that it's even up there
Mm-hmm.
shows visibility and it shows consciousness.
Yeah.
And yeah, there might be some companies who have a slightly insidious money making nature in it. Um, Especially if the company has been known to promote like anti-LGBT causes, but then still puts a rainbow up there and pretends
Yeah.
like they like you. That's problematic. But on the whole, I think everyone wants to just celebrate, and I
Yeah.
think it's wonderful, and I love it. So
Yeah. I
I
think that was
appreciate
the
you guys doing
problem.
that.
It was people who were like, or companies who were putting it up, but then the rest of the year were doing nothing about it or actually doing things against it.
Yeah, totally. It would be like Chick-fil-A changing their logo to a rainbow. It's
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
no, that's not happening.
Get out here, Chick Fil
All
A.
right, get out of here. We hate your chicken. Stupids. It's actually, I've had their sandwiches before.
I did used to
They're
like them.
fine. I actually liked their French fries more than anything. Their chicken was just chicken. I didn't
Yeah, I
care.
mean it wasn't special, but it was fine.
Yeah. But I do love that Burger King, in response to Chick-fil-A, was said, all right, fuck y'all. We actually have a better chicken sandwich. And if you buy our chicken sandwich, we'll donate proceeds to Trevor Project because our chicken has no hate.
Ooh.
And we're open on Sundays.
And we're open on Sundays.
So I love that. I love that not so friendly competition. Like you guys need to step it up. So I've got this dark pink up there to start. Now what I'm going to do is take my lighter pink just to brighten it up a little bit. You can see it's very close to the pink above it. It's just slightly brighter. And then I'm going to add a tap of white as I start to bring this down and really lighten it up. We want this really nice seamless transition from our darkest pink to our lightest pink.
So Danny just got an iPad with an Apple Pencil.
I saw that.
Yeah, he's been doing some good stuff.
Yeah, it looks great. I love that he's already like in it. I offered to share some of my brushes with him, and then I realized I never offered to share my brushes with you.
You did. You just didn't actually share
Oh, I
them
did.
with me.
Oh no. Okay, I meant to. I will do that. You know what I'll do is I'll upload them and I'll send you both the link.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm all about sharing the tools if I remember to do so. It's so funny. You're like, yeah, you asshole. You told me you would, and you didn't.
I just sat here quietly.
Working with your stubby pencil brush.
Going, oh, I wish somebody would share their brushes with me.
I have to tell you, the other day, not last week, but the week before, I was watching Chat Time, and Chunk and Cucumber had the cutest little chairs.
Yeah, those are great.
They were adorable, and they looked so comfortable.
Oh yeah. we're gonna work on those. Definitely were not comfortable.
There were moments during the stream where I could tell someone was shifting their weight or like had to take a break. It was so funny. You'd see like Chunk just sitting there, or Cucumber would just sit there and like be in it, and then every now and then it would be okay, and then come back up. So funny.
It'll get better.
It's hard work,
Mm-hmm.
no matter how long you've been doing it. I mean, even during like Playhouse Disney, the shows were what, 10, 15 minutes long?
22 minutes. 21
Okay.
and 23.
Yeah. And that was tough on its own.
Mm-hmm. Man, I've been like professionally puppeteering for almost 20 years.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. I literally was like, this is going to be a summer job for me while I figure things out. Nope.
That's amazing, though. I mean, the fact that you love it and do it and
Yeah.
have had such great opportunities with it. It's just so cool.
Yeah, I've been very lucky.
Yeah.
And it was weird because I never thought it was something that you could actually do full time.
Isn't that funny? Like the stuff that we think about that we just enjoy, we never think and we're never told, like, oh, you should look into that as a professional career.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one ever steps up and says, hey, do what you love.
I didn't realize that it could be till it was a little bit after we met Greg Ballora for the first time. And we all went out like during that rehearsal process. We went out to it might have been a couple of rehearsal processes, and we went out to have drinks after rehearsal or something. And we were talking to him, and I was like, "Hey, so what do you do? What do you do normally?" And he was like, "What do you mean? Like what do you do outside of puppetry? What's like your regular job?" And he goes, "This is my regular job. I'm a puppeteer like all the time." And my mind was blown.
It's so
Oh
crazy.
my God. This exists outside of here?
I love that. Did Greg come on as a consultant that same rehearsal, like training cycle that I started on?
I think so.
I can't remember because
When,
everything happened all at once for
when
me.
did you
But
start?
I want to say 2000, late 2004 or early 2005
I
with Playhouse Disney
yeah,
specifically.
either that rehearsal or like a rehearsal before that. But yeah,
Okay.
you came in during his early time.
Yeah. Such a magical time. I always think on it very fondly.
Too. Oh, I just
So
found out
simple.
Alicia is moving away.
Really?
Yeah, she's
Where?
moving to Tennessee to I don't know, somewhere. Some
Interesting.
other state that's not California.
Huh. Just cuz had enough of it.
I heard she got like a good really cool gig somewhere.
Good.
Yeah,
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
me too.
Um, yeah, I'm hearing more and more people, not just California, like out of California, but
Mm-hmm.
as people have been working from home or like working in different ways, um, just have been making changes. And
Yeah,
I think it's
which is great.
great. Like, take advantage of it. I'm trying to convince Jared that we can move to Italy um,
How's that
because
going?
every now and then he's in it, and then other times he's like, no, I can't, it'll be like Vicar of Dibley and I'll end up living in some sad little village, um, which I would love to live in some like idyllic Italian village in Tuscany or something.
And there is a bunch of like tiny villages or like tiny towns in Italy that are like selling houses for super cheap
Yeah,
because
they're intentionally.
because their population is really low, so they're getting a lot of people to. You have to commit to it, and you don't just get to buy a house
Yeah,
and then have it sit there. You have to commit to like fixing it up and living there some part of the year. I would
yeah,
love that.
there's two towns specifically that I found so far. One is Santa Flora, or Santa Flores, and then the other one is Rieti. And both of them are offering to pay half of your rent for the
Hmm.
first 2 to 6 months. And then they can extend that for like a year or two after that, but with the hope that you'll love it so much that you'll just want to stay, which I just think is so cool. I would love that.
I would definitely stay.
And you just have to prove that you're working from home. Like you just get a note from your boss or your company. It says, I'm working remotely, and um,
Hang out
then
over
you
here.
find the place and you just, yeah, I would love that. And they're like rebuilding their internet infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not just moving in on like sad 1990s internet speed. Like this is they're boosting it up, which I think is really cool. So who knows?
Yeah, I kind of
Maybe
wish that
someday.
that obviously we didn't know how long this pandemic was going to happen, but I kind of wish that I had a hint, because
Mm-hmm.
I would have definitely moved to Mexico for a while. Just literally, everything I did here for Perception Studio,
Totally.
not all of it, a lot of it, I could have done shows for Mexico, and I could have hung
Yeah,
out at the beach with my cousin.
totally. I would have done the same thing had I had like a little bit of an idea of what we were expecting, and um, yeah, I would have spent some time in Canada. I have some friends who went to Hawaii for like a couple of weeks and worked from there, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like I don't know why. The whole time I thought, oh, this is just going to turn around and I'll have to go back to the office any day now.
And then nope.
Nuh-uh. Um, James Davis, hello. How are you?
Hello, hello, welcome, friends.
So y'all can see I'm bringing it down nice and light toward the bottom here. You don't have to go all the way to the bottom because we're going to cover some of that up with our buildings. But I'm going to lighten it up a bit more. You can see there's a little bit of a stripe here where it's a touch darker. So I just want to lighten it. Oh, Art, can you kick on some music for us?
Oh yeah, it's been a while.
It has been a while. There we go. That's better. So we got this nice, deep, like magenta pink up here, and then it just slowly gets lighter and lighter as we go down toward the bottom. Thank you. I really loved the skull that Andrew was painting
Yeah, the
last
Mandalorian
week. That
skull.
was
Yeah.
really cool. Yeah. And that was 3D printed, right? Was it the same person who printed the dragon stuff?
Yeah, it was John JBJ who held. He printed about half of the dragon, or like
Which turned
a
out
third of them.
amazing,
It
by
looks
the
so good.
way.
I'm so excited.
Oh, Art, you guys should be so proud. It's seriously beautiful. I was so excited every time I saw a little snippet of it on Instagram on stories and stuff. It's really, really cool. The paint job too turned out really nice. I
Yeah.
love that it had that like iridescent feel to it.
That was Adam and Jess Effects who came over and
Nice.
helped with that. Yeah, they did the hands as well,
They're beautiful.
and Andrew helped out with the hands as well.
I was watching them play Horrified
Mhm.
last week too. That was really fun. I've had that game in my closet for like a year now, and I haven't played with it other than the miniatures themselves because it intimidates Jared, so we haven't done it yet. James Davis says, tired but can't sleep due to the heat. I don't blame you. So my studio / office that I'm in now is fine during the day, but then around like 2 o'clock or so, the heat just like beats on this corner of the house. So it just gets warmer and warmer. So thankfully it's starting to cool a little bit right now, but yeah, it's getting hot real fast.
Yeah, Amber and I live in a dungeon basically because we don't get a lot of sunlight, direct sunlight, which sucks most of the time until it's hot because we only get sun like in the afternoon, but there's also a house next to us, so we don't even get the whole afternoon. So it's nice. Our apartment there is pretty decently cool, and we got floors like hard floors a little while ago, so the carpet doesn't absorb any of the heat anymore. So I feel lucky that we're in a decently cool apartment.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough to not have air conditioning in California because you never know unless you're in a spot like you guys are.
Mm-hmm.
Long Beach generally stays kind of cool, but
Yeah. It's
there's
usually
that
really cool.
period that's like, I want to say around October, November, that for some reason is just so unbearably hot and like muggy and lit. Hi, Emma. All right, so we've got our background. Next, we're going to paint our sun. This is going to be about halfway up your canvas, right around this way. And it's going to sit just to the right of center of your canvas. So it's going to be right about here. I'm just going to put a little dot of white paint. And then I'm slowly going to circle that outward. And this will probably be just larger than my fist. Maybe a little bit smaller. Just kind of gauge it, maybe 4 or 5 inches as you go. But when I'm painting circles, as always, I start in the center first and build outward. Take a step back and take a look at it. Make sure it's looking the way that you want. It's rounding out the way that you like. It's not wobbly or egg-shaped, or it's also a nice way to make sure that it doesn't get too big too fast. Because most of us are used to just drawing a big circle and then coloring that circle in, which works, but sometimes it just gets too big too fast. This way you can build it up and you don't have to try to take any paint off.
Emma says we're in drought right now. All the lakes are sucking by the sea.
I've seen that. Yeah. Yeah, I hope it's not a crazy hot summer, but it seems like it's already starting to kick up.
Yeah, I'm glad. I mean, at the studio we have AC and we're not shy about using it.
Hey, if you've got it.
Yeah, I would hate it if like one of us was like, we really shouldn't be using the AC song because it costs a lot of money. Like, no,
that's the worst. It's so bad when there's like a climate control person in your workspace. I actually had that for a time, and it's so difficult to manage because you can't. I don't know. I can't work if it's too hot.
Yeah, me the same.
If it's too hot, I'm sweaty, I'm uncomfortable, I feel sticky, and if it's cooler, like if it's too cold, I can always grab a sweater or I can get a blanket and put it over me or something like that as I'm working. And yeah, it might be a little uncomfortable. Maybe it's just because of the temperature or whatever. But you can always make adjustments with cold weather or with cold air conditioner or something. But in the workplace, you can only get so naked. You can't just, oh, it's really hot. It's hot, so I need to take off my shirt. Like, you can't do that in the office. And I had one person who, no matter what, was like, oh no, we can't turn the air on. I can't have the air blowing on my face as I'm working. I'm like, well, okay, but it's 100 degrees in here. Yeah. It was hard. It was really difficult. I eventually rigged up a system so that when the air was on, it would blow through like these fake cardboard ducts that I like taped to the ceiling and positioned so that they were aimed toward me and away from her. And it worked, but everyone was like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm working, leave me alone. I love the heat, but it's got to be with, it's got to be for a reason. Like, I got to be at the beach or at the pool or
with options.
Yeah, I can't just be like, ooh, heat. Let me sit in this and do nothing. That sounds great.
No, I can't sleep in the heat. I usually need to be cool.
Yeah, sleeping in the heat is the worst.
That's because I'm standing away from my mic. I'm by myself a little bit. Here you go. It's usually when I'm drawing, I sit back.
Right.
Yeah, instead of being right up on my mic like a grown up.
All right, that's pretty good. It looks a little wobbly, but I can fix that. Emma says, it's the climate change's fault. I know. What do you mean climate change? That ain't real. All right, that looks pretty good. I can always make adjustments later on. So there is the sun. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to take the purple, or the violet in this case, and we're going to do our first set of buildings. Art, if you could pop up on the sample.
Yeah.
And then I'll show you guys what we're going to be working on first. So you can see the tallest part of the building here is our, there we go. So the tallest part here in the center is that violet. That's going to overlook the sun there. We're going to start that first. Then you can see in front of that is that slightly darker kind of navy purple. We're going to build that on top of that. And then after that is kind of that purplish black that we're working with. That's going to be the last one that we do.
Yeah, cool.
Thanks. Dan says, who's going to partner with Robert when you aren't there in July?
Oh, yeah. I haven't told Robert yet. We haven't talked about this.
Well, you're going to Hawaii, right?
No, I'm also leaving. I'm going to be gone for a month. So we're going to have to figure out either we're going to take a break. Cinephile is going to take a break. So either we'll take a break or I'll see if somebody else can run the show. I'm going to Hawaii for a week. And then the 3 weeks prior to that, I'm going to be at the Henson workshop.
No.
Workshop. Yeah.
You're doing that like intensive workshop thing?
Mm-hmm. Just got invited a couple days ago.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's so cool. I just saw Andrew Kano's on there too.
Kano, yeah. You got it.
Yeah. That's so cool. I love that. I was telling Danny in my like little daydreamiest of minds, like how great to just drop everything and be like, I don't want to design tacos for a minute. I would love to go and play with puppets for the next month, if you don't mind. Great, thanks.
Yeah,
don't think I didn't think about it.
Come over for a month and just play puppets.
I know. I just I'm gonna camp out underneath the table. It'd be like college all over again, sleeping on puppet carcasses. That's so cool. I'm so excited for you. That's gonna be awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
So fun. Andrew, aka not Danny, could be the co-host. Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm open to Andrew and I switching or doing like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, like flipping back and forth. We'll figure it out. But yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll have to figure it out. I'll let you know.
I have some Hawaii books for you too. I'm sure
cool.
You've already done some research and stuff,
no,
but
zero, not at all. I don't even know where we're staying.
Amber great.
Amber does.
I'll send them to you. I have one on Maui, Kauai, and I think I have another on Oahu. They're really good books. I bought them thinking I was going to go to Hawaii anytime soon. That was 5 years ago. So, yeah.
I have to choose my flight though, because the last day of the workshop is the day that I was supposed to leave. So I think Amber's gonna have to leave a day early without me. She's gonna spend a day by herself in Hawaii, which I'm sure she's not gonna mind.
That sounds tough.
Yeah. It's tough. Yeah. And Necrofilm asks, is that why Chunk needed reels? Yeah, that's what Chunk's needed samples, needed bits for his audition tape. Because you have to do one, you have to send a tape in, you'd send a reel, a small thing, and then from that, then you were invited to audition over Zoom, and then you got it. It's like a 2-step.
That's so cool. I love that. Congratulations.
Thank you. Emma says, I'm officially a senior student, class of 2022. Awesome. Congratulations.
Nice. Yeah. Congrats. Oh my gosh, 2022. Oof. I graduated high school 22 years ago.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I'm just about to have my 10-year reunion.
What? Really?
No.
I was like, hold on. Wait up. Pause the stream.
That sounds like a lie.
All right, so we're going to build up on this purple. I'm going to let this part dry for a bit, and I'm going to build the other building off to the side. This is going to sit pretty much center, and it's going to go just shy of the center of the canvas this way too. So I'm going to start with this just general dome shape. It's kind of a short, flat dome. And you can have some fun just building up these structures. They don't have to be perfect. You don't have to go extremely like photo Canon reel with it. If you want to, you can go online and type in what does Naboo look like, and then bring in the building if you want. But for the most part, just have some fun, build it out. As long as you have these domed shaped structures, it'll still have that very Naboo feel. And then in the center, I'm going to put another little rounded dome on the top there. And then this like pointy tower part with yet another domey shape on top.
Okay.
That's right. What?
No, nothing. I was just thinking out loud.
All right, so there's the top of one of my structures. And then I'm just going to bring that straight down on either side.
I think I might be dehydrated. I feel a little weird.
Have you been drinking water today?
I'm not really.
You probably are. And with the temperature changes and everything.
Yeah, I have water now. I'm trying to catch up.
Okay, good. There we go. Connie says, Liza Minnelli lies. Wow, those are the most intensive lies. The Liza Minnelli type. Necrofilm, it was hysterical with Brian and Cucumber just really not helping. Oh, with the real stuff?
The reals. I asked for softballs, or Chunk asked for softballs, and nobody was giving them.
That sounds about right.
It's okay, I got enough stuff to get an audition. It worked out.
Yeah, that's right. I wonder who the biggest troublemaker of the group is. I bet it's Art.
In person, probably.
Yeah, in person, I would say Art. That sounds about right. I could see the Amber. Actually, no, not Amber. I could see Willow being very troublesome at times. Dan drank 64 ounces of water today because of how hot it is. Yeah. Good. That's good. I actually drink a lot of water all day, every day. Thankfully, I like it, so I drink a lot of it. But my husband doesn't. He hates water, like actually hates it. So he's often dehydrated, and I have to remind him, like, babe, he's much better now, though. All right, so now we're building up this kind of tower off to the side. It's got this sloped angle edge on both sides, and I think it's only going to go about halfway the distance of the sun. I don't want to go too far off. So right about there. going to fill that in for now. And then that'll go down just like before. We're just doing colored silhouettes. So you don't have to worry too much about definition or details with the buildings themselves, just on the main silhouette as you're building it out. So then on top of that, I'm going to do a little vertical kind of lip to the building. And then I'm going to do another vertical, but it's going to be slightly recessed. And now I'm going to start to overlap on the sun that I painted. Little balcony like roof structure there. And then I'm going to paint the dome.
James, there was speaking of Ryan, remember this past Friday night when he said he was in Quest to Geek instead of Perception Studio? That was too funny. Did jump ship. He's on probation now from Perception Studio for a while.
Whoops. All right, so we got that little nub on there, and then just like that we did before, those spires that we're painting.
It might be a sinus headache that I'm getting and not dehydration.
Ooh, I hope not.
I hope not too. There was Ryan was doing some drilling on the wall and a bunch of dust coming up, so that might have been it. I don't like these.
Yuck. Mm-mm.
Let me go take some ibuprofen just in case. I'll be back.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to take this purple down a bit further. You don't need to go too far down because we're actually going to paint over this bottom edge with our next like darker purple tone. But I do want to make sure I have enough coverage here. So I'm just going to sweep through, fill in some of these kind of spotty areas that maybe the paint hasn't picked up all the way. It's very warm in my studio today, so I can see the paint is drying and it's getting a little sticky, so there's lines in it, unfortunately. Usually happens with my blue tones, green tones. Starts to lift up a little bit. Prince would be happy. Prince would totally be happy. Have you watched the Starving Games? And Dan wants to know if that's the name for America's Next Top Model. Oh. Oh. I don't know what the Starving Games are, but it doesn't sound like fun to me. Matrix. Okay, so there's that. So next what we're going to do, we're going to mix up our next color. Let me grab my palette real quick. Okay, so this is going to be a combination of our purple violet with our brilliant blue to darken it up a bit. So I'm starting with my lighter color first, and I'm going to add the darker tone in there little by little to get the shade that I'm looking for. And I want this to be pretty dark. I want it to be able to stand out against the purple that I've just put on there. So we're looking for like a navy. And this might do it. Maybe. Let me try a little tap of black. I don't want to go too dark too soon because I still want my last tone to be really kind of a nice standout. So just a tap of black. You can always add more if you need to. Nope, that was it. It went too dark. This is a troublesome color. It's going to be tough to match, but we'll get there. All right, well, I've got my third color, so that's good. Starving Games is a parody of Hunger Games, and it's really funny. Oh, it's like a movie parody? I would watch that. That sounds good. I like those stupid like parody movies, like Scary Movie. There were a few of them. Dance Movie, I think, was one of them. They're just so bad and so stupid, but I love it. Okay, let's try this again. I'm gonna do more purple. Get some more blue in there. Okay, that's a little bit better. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of that like blue-black that I've just mixed previously and tap that in there little by little. That way it still has that purplish blue hue without just adding pure black to it. All right, that's pretty good. Sounds like the Batman soundtrack. Okay, all right, so let's build up our towers. We're working on the second portion now. I'm using this kind of dark navy blue that I've created. I'm going to start over here on this side and create this kind of tower that you see off to the right. Its height is just below the sun. And I'm just going to start there and bring it down. That's the center of my tower there. Hey, I actually did it. Nice. It's hard to paint sideways sometimes. Okay. So then that's the top of my tower. I'm going to go down a little bit. I'd say right about here and widen it just a little bit for this next portion of my tower. And then I'm going to go right about here-ish. Let's see, right there. Let's do this. I'm going to create a dome about halfway up this tower. and then just fill that in on either side. The towers. There we go. Nice. Okay, so we're going to keep building some more of these rounded dome towers. I think on the sample, aside from the one that we just painted, there are about 6 of them, and they kind of overlap one another. So just take your time and build them out. If you want, you can kind of set up where you would like them and just create a line for each one. There's going to be one there. I'll do a shorter one here. Looks like there's a shorter one here too. And then one more over here that's right about there. Got one more over here. And then one off to the side this way. James says, I hope Sonic 2 will be just as great or better than Sonic 1. Hopefully it'll be in theaters next year. I still have yet to see Sonic.
It's pretty good.
It looks so good. I haven't made time to watch it. Usually when I'm done with work, I'm trying to decompress so much that I end up just watching reruns of The Love Boat again or something. But it does look really good. And I'm really glad that the studio took the time to go back into the process and like, you know what? People are shitting on our Sonic design. Let's redo it. Let's treat it right.
Yeah, which normally I'm not a big fan of studios reacting to audience reaction, because then that just opens that whole can of worms.
Yeah.
But in this one, it actually was a good reason to do it.
Yeah, I'm typically not okay for that either. It goes along with that whole cancel culture kind of mob mentality.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was really shocked and kind of freaked out by the original Sonic design too. So I'm glad that they went into it and redid it. And not to discount the work that someone did, because I'm sure that was really difficult to get to that point that they were originally.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad they thought on it and decided to redo it.
Because it was pretty terrible.
It was just really, yeah. Not only did it not necessarily look like Sonic, aside from it being a blue hedgehog, but it didn't feel like Sonic. Like when it talked and when it ran around and moved, like it just didn't feel like we were looking at Sonic the Hedgehog. It just felt like a sad, cheaper version of it. Because now when I see the trailers, it's like, oh yeah, that's totally Sonic. He sounds like him, he acts like him.
Because otherwise, it was a very good movie.
It looks good. I like Jim Carrey too.
Yeah, this is a really good role for him.
Yeah. Emma says, oh God, didn't you see the version of Sonic in their first teaser trailer? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, it was so uncomfortable. He popped up there and I was so excited about the movie, and then I see Sonic and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what did they do? The proportions were off. I think that's
well, and they also gave him human teeth.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So then he looked all bitey and weird. Necrofilm says it's on Hulu. Okay, great. I do have Hulu. I'll take a look. Dan says the director came out and said to not blame the animators, blame me, and that's why they were going back and doing a better job. That's good. I mean, it's nice that someone's kind of taking accountability in that moment. I never blamed the animators either. It wasn't a situation where it's like, what are they doing? That's ridiculous. It was just like, oh.
This was definitely a creative choice from somebody who, the director
exactly.
or the studio.
And we're part of the creative fields. We know the kind of work that goes into it, whether people like it or not. So who are we to really say if it's done right or not? But I am glad that they revisited it and thought, you know what? Sonic is beloved by many people. Let's take another turn. Hi, come here. Hi. Oh. Hi, baby. Trixie wanted to say hi. Hello. Did you have dinner? Was it good? Good. Good girl. Hi, come here. Oh. We got a new pup a couple weeks ago.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, this is Halston. Say hi.
Oh, hey.
He's a little speckled pup.
So now you have...
We got 3 of them now.
3 of them now, that's okay.
Yeah, here you go. Emma says meow. Yeah, they're pretty much cats. They're little kitties. Hi. Yeah, we were watching Cruella and fell in love with Wink, the little chihuahua in the movie. And so we're like, I think we need another one. So we went to the shelter and picked up another one. It's a little 8-year-old pup. Needed a new home.
Yeah, I can't wait till we move into a place where we can have just go pick up puppy.
Yeah.
How do your dogs think they're gonna do now? Like when you're not back in the office yet? Are you back in the office?
No, I'm not back in the office, and in fact, I think I'm probably going to be working from home, like in the foreseeable future. And there isn't any talk of my group specifically going back to work in the office. It's just because my team has like 50, almost 60 people in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's no real way for us to be able to do that effectively.
And still be distanced and stuff.
Yeah, it'd be different. There are some teams that are already back in the office, like the HR teams. There's like 5 or 6 people, so they're able to spread out in the office. But our marketing, Taco Bell design specifically, there's so many of us, we couldn't make it happen. So, I mean, we've been working remotely for the last year and a half, and our profits have increased somehow magically. So,
wow.
So there really isn't a case for them to demand us to come back. It's not like, well, okay, it's time for everyone to come back. It's like, well, no, we're good.
It's working out.
Yeah, we're fine. You just know that we're still getting our job done, and you can chill out in the office if you want to. They are inviting us back if we want to go back.
Okay.
And I think from time to time, they're actually creating some more public outdoor spaces for us at the building, just for more collaborative opportunities. So there may be a couple days every now and then where it's kind of all hands on deck. Let's show up at the office and have an outdoor gathering meeting, but those will be far and few between.
It's good that you have choices.
I'm very thankful. This whole situation could have been extremely difficult to manage, so I'm very thankful and grateful that it turned out the way that it did. And now with our move to Italy, I mean, it just works out great.
Cypher says, "Hail, dudes, nice work. Thank you."
Thank you.
That's all Robert.
Hi, Cypher.
Right, I haven't shown mine yet.
It's a little hard to see mine because the light is hitting in a bit of a these darker blues kind of reflect a little bit. Let me see if I could tilt it. It helps a little bit, I think. So this darker, like navy blue is overlapping on the purple, building it up little by little. Necrofilm says a Chihuahua mix. You know, I think it's just a Chihuahua. Halston is a he. I think Halston is just Chihuahua, but just spreckly. I don't really know. From the shelter, we don't. Halston, like the clothing designer. Yeah, Jared's been obsessed with the Halston show on Netflix, so it seemed fitting. It's usually what happens with our dogs. We named Trixie because of Trixie Mattel when she won season 3 of All Stars. It's a nice marker too. In case we forget how long we've had our dogs, we can just think back and like, wait, when did that drag queen win that contest? Oh, right. Okay. So we've had our dog for 7 years now. Great.
Because it's hard to tell sometimes how long you've had a dog.
It is, especially when, because we always adopt shelter dogs. So they tell us, oh, they're 8 years old. They always say 8 years old because they want you to feel bad that they're senior dogs and they want you to adopt them, which we do because it works. But ultimately, I don't think anyone really knows. It's like when you go to the vet and they're like, oh, they can be 2 years. They could be 6 years. We don't know. All right, well, thanks. Appreciate your expertise. Sonic does kind of look like a cat, but in a nice hedgehoggian way.
It does.
So Sonic the Hedgehog has his friends, Tails and Knuckles, right? Tails is clearly a fox. Knuckles is Echidna? Is that how you pronounce it?
An echidna, yeah.
Okay, I always thought like Echinacea. When I was a kid, I thought it was Echinacea, until I figured out that was something completely different. Echidna. Are they in the movie too?
They're going to be in the second movie.
Okay, cool. All right, so I've got my towers up, and now I'm going to paint this little bridge connecting them right about here. Nice. What? I think you're right, James. They do want to be painters. Trixie's always up here hanging out with me in the studio when I'm painting. I think she just likes the chillness. She likes the sound of my voice as I'm painting. She's a very chill pup. And this is Halston's first stream. So
Yay.
I don't know what he thinks yet. He's grumbling at me right now. He says, "Brr, try again. Brr." All right, so we've got our purple towers, our like bluish navy towers, and next we're going to do our not quite black, but close to black towers in the foreground here. And actually, before I do that, let's carry down this blue just a bit more. I'm going to grab my larger brush. I've got all this extra blue because I mixed so much of it. I'm just going to carry it down. This will give us some extra height for this grouping. Help it to stand out a bit. And I don't want all this paint to go to waste. That's why I typically mix my paint colors on the canvas. Because usually when I'm mixing it on my palette, I end up with so much extra paint that I don't use. There we go. That's better. It looks like a floating castle. Okay, so now into my blue-black tone. These are going to be our foreground turrets and towers right up front. And again, I'll just set a little kind of baseline of where I want them to be. Let's do this one here. And then there's another one here. Looks like there's about 4 or 5 of these. And I don't know if this is going to be dark enough. So I'm going to take some black paint and just kind of tap that in there. If this goes pure black on this, that's okay at this point. I just want to make sure that it's dark enough to stand out against the dark blue that we just used.
Oh, so now I said Danny just got an iPad?
Yeah.
So did Ryan. Ryan got the iPad Pro, the big one.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
I've been loving mine since I got it. I think it was in October. You finally convinced me.
It's great. Yeah, I think Ryan wanted like a laptop replacement, so you got the big one.
Nice.
Which I like, but like I don't think that's one I can carry around. I like having my iPad be able to fit in my bag.
Yeah, I like having it because I'm on a laptop for work all day. I like having it as its own separate thing.
Yeah, I think I eventually do one of the big ones because I used to have the big one. It's Amber's now. But I want it like as my desk iPad. It's like hard for me to hold because I have little hands.
Yeah. I have to keep them separate because I want to keep my iPad for excuse me, for like my fun creative art and keep it separate from my work creative art, which is still fun, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
Which one did you end up getting, Art? You got the blue one, right?
Yeah, I got the Blue Air.
It was so shocking when I actually opened it and saw how how not saturated the color was. Because I got the green one, and you can hardly tell that it's green. It's almost like a silver. James is going to rewatch the old Sonic shows. Oh, yeah. I liked that. The cartoon show was fun. The Saturday AM. There were two versions, right? There was the Saturday morning cartoon version, and then there was a like weekday afternoon version that I think was based more on the comic books.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're still okay, but the weekday afternoon one felt a little less like Sonic. It was more like, you know how cartoon shows like around the mid to late 90s were starting to get very extreme, like, whoa, wow, can you believe it? It kind of had that overly extreme feel to it, where it's like, I just want to watch cartoons. You don't have to throw this in my face. Not everything's an X game. Oh, Art, did I tell you I finally finished Rime of the Frost Maiden?
Oh, did you?
Yeah. You guys are so brutal. Oh my god. Poor Connie.
Poor Connie.
So bad. Although I could not stop laughing when there was one point where everyone was donating.
Mm-hmm.
Like just insane amount, which was great. But then I think at one point Connie had like 23 new characters that were supposed to join the fray. It was so funny.
Connie never came back.
I've never seen her again.
Yeah, never saw her again.
All right, so I finished up my towers, and now I'm taking my large brush and I'm just finishing up the bottom portion of my canvas, filling in with that darkest color. But I'm not going to use it all just yet because I want to save some of it to paint in my little starfighters that are floating up here. Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog was very funny. I wish Tails was in Sonic Underground. I don't remember between the two of them which was which, but I do remember enjoying one much more than the other.
Were they both Jaleel White, or was it only one of them?
I think it was just one of them. I think. That's funny. I forgot that it was Jaleel White until you said something. James says, I remember that episode. She almost threw her notebook. Yeah, I don't blame her. Like, she didn't when she first started the show, but at the end of the show, there was this vein that was coming down the center of her head and would just get larger and larger. Poor Connie. You guys really put her through the paces. It's so funny. It's funny because we laugh at like how mistreated Ryan is because we all hate Ryan. But then, just kidding. But then you see someone else step in the shoes and you're just like, dang, okay. Ruthless. All right, so let's paint our little starfighter guys. Art, if you could zoom in around here, you could probably just focus center if you wanted to, right around this area. Perfect. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're just treating these like lines that we're going to build up little by little. So I'm taking my darkest paint with my thin brush right there. I'm using the thin edge of my 1/2-inch flat brush. And James says, I really thought the puppets would give her an easy time. I thought that for a brief moment.
It started out nice. We gave her
It did.
plenty of time to get worked in.
To acclimate?
Acclimate, yeah.
It started nice, but I mean, episode 1, you guys just started right in on her. So good. Okay, so I'm going to start with the base structure of our starfighter. I'm going to start with the front and just build it backward at an angle. Just start with a line there. And then from that line, I'm going to create kind of an arch shape toward the front. This is just a guide, so it doesn't have to be a perfect arch. Just to help guide me with my shapes as I'm building. And from that arch, I'm going to draw a line connecting the two. Kind of looks like a little arrow. Straighten that arch there. Straighten that arch there. So we've got the front of our ship now. On the edge of this kind of arrowhead that we've created, I'm following the same line that I've drawn here, the larger line, and I'm doing 2 shorter dashes. One there, and one there. And then I'm going to let them thin out, kind of taper off toward the back. And then this part here, I'm going to build out a bit, little by little, kind of thicken up the cockpit area. There we go. And then I'm just going to add a little nubbin right about where the rounded off bottom area of the cockpit meets that kind of tapered wing section, right about here. Actually, I'm going to build this out a little bit more. There we go. Little nub right here. That's where our little R2 co-pilot sits and help us out. And then if you want, you can make it a little more angular. Make it a little sharper. Yeah. Nice. I'm happy with that. Very cute. All right, I'm going to do another one right about here. This one's going to be a little bit smaller, but I'm going to do all the same steps. James says, I did watch the Christmas special where Art was DM, Brian Cucumber and Willow showed no mercy.
That was so hard.
Oh my gosh. I've never seen that. What were you guys doing? Was it just a one-shot for Christmas?
It's a one-shot. Yeah, it was a one-shot for Christmas.
Okay. Is it on YouTube?
It should be on
find
YouTube,
it?
yeah.
Okay. I do need to watch that. I can only imagine how wonderful that was. Merry Christmas, Art.
That was being real mean because they were trying to prove a point.
Of course. I've been watching Amber's Harry Potter, like Kids of Harry Potter stream.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't take anyone's shit.
No.
You guys try, and she's like, no, are you guys going to listen? Are you going to play the game? Or are you just going to sit there and do nothing? So funny. All right, so this one's going to live right here. It's going to be a little bit smaller. It's going to be a little bit further back, too. So let's go right about here. I want to follow the same line as the one that I painted first. So right there. And then create the arch. Like so. Connect those lines. Straighten off the arches and then fill that in. And then creating our little support wings on either side. And then let's fill in this cockpit area. You know, it's funny, I meant for this one to be smaller, but it just looks like the same size. Oh well. There's our little R2 unit there. That's a little bit smaller. That's good. I'm happy with that. If Amber becomes DM again, I bet Cucumber, Chunk, and Brian would be too scared to break her one-shot or campaign. Oh, yeah. You know who'd be really scared to break it? Chunk.
I don't think
I
Brian
think Chunk.
would.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't think Brian's afraid of anything.
And that's it. Ta-da!
Oh, I should go back.
Oh yeah, I was like, wait, what? How? There we go. Yay! We've got Naboo.
Use mine. I gotta add the star glitter still.
Ooh. Oh, I love that. I love how like precision detail you got with the spire in the center. It's very cool.
Yeah, I added an antenna to it.
Beautiful. Yeah, I love that.
I think I'm gonna do the big ship, the silver ship.
Oh, the silver shiny one.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's the I forgot what it's called. It's Amidala ship.
It's the other Naboo ship.
Yeah, it's the other Naboo ship.
I liked what you did last time on the Hoth painting when you actually brought the illustrations onto it. That looked really cool.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I like that. So yeah.
Nope. You gave up.
Whoop. Oh.
Oh, I should do it with this one maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, bring in the actual ship. It'll be cool. All right, gang. Well, thank you for joining us today. I hope you had fun.
That was fun.
For our Summer of Star Wars. Next week we are painting. I think we have Coruscant on there for next week.
Okay, yeah.
But someone else suggested something else for episode 2, and I can't remember what they said. So I'm going to think on it.
Okay, we'll let you know.
Yeah, because it looks the Coruscant one looks similar to this, just in a different tone, and the buildings are shaped differently. But
Yeah.
their idea was really good, so I'll think on it. But either way, we're going to be painting another planet-themed painting from episode 2 next week for our Summer of Star Wars. And yeah, Art, do you have some perception check, partner push info-y stuff?
Partner push is still happening. Don't know if we're ever gonna get it.
Go.
'Cause apparently they don't want to give it to us.
Rude.
They will regret it one day when we're super famous and we're like, Twitch. I don't know. We might not be exclusive with them. But yeah, keep watching our shows. Particularly Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday nights are the important nights. This Friday is the last day of Morkborg. It's our final episode of Morkborg.
So good.
And yeah, so come join us for this. On that tomorrow night, Solomon's Legacy at 7 p.m. And then we'll be back on Wednesday with Perception Check at 7:30 on both of those on Twitch. So come back and join us for that. We will keep you updated with what happens with Monday nights as we get closer to it. Because I still don't know. I think that's it. That's all we got.
Nice. Oh, James says Geonosis. That's not a bad idea. I'll look into that. If anyone has any ideas for episode 2 painting themes, we have Coruscant, we have Geonosis. I'm sure there's something else floating in there too. Put it on our Perception Paints Discord and let me know.
Yeah, do that.
Because I'm not sure what we should do yet. Because episode 2 is kind of a blur. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you, Art.
Yeah,
Lovely as
you.
always. And we'll see you guys next time.
Good night, everybody. I'm looking for the button.
Okay.
I can't find it. Oh, there it is. Bye.
Boop boop beep bop boop boop beep.